Yep, you're recording a call.
Everything you say is now being recorded.
It's totally legit now.
Welcome to the show. I'm Vivian So of joliepagel.com. Today's guest is Christine of Simply Stine.com. Okay, first off, I am so excited to start my first podcast after years of talking about it and to have my friend Christine as my first guest. We've known each other for quite some time now, and it is an honor to have her on here. Today, we're talking about what it takes to start a blog, the importance of authenticity, social media, editing tools we use, and the online relationships we build. You can read Christine's blog at simplystine.com. Follow her on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook under Simply Stine Co. I'll have bullet points of what we covered and her info linked in the show notes, as well as on my blog at joliepagel.com.
So, do you remember how we virtually met?
I kind of do. I believe it was when you were with the business. I don't know why, but for some reason right now, I can't remember what it was called. Was it Naked or something?
Yeah, it was like written such a way it's supposed to be pronounced hot naked.
That's it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But like it was kind of a nightmare to do like bath bombs and such because like they would crumble
Oh,
if I
yeah.
didn't do it right. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh Jesus. So yeah, that was and we like met on Twitter.
Yeah. We hit it off. How many years has that been now?
I When did you first start your blog? Was that 2012?
I think so. Yes, I think
Because
so.
I think that's when we met.
Yeah, I think, gosh, that's been a long time.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
oh my gosh, it's 2019.
Yeah, that's a really long time. Wow.
Yeah.
I think about that
Yeah,
sometimes and I'm like, I've been doing this for a long time now.
you have. It
Wow.
doesn't even feel like 7 years.
And in some ways it does, and then some ways like it feels like it's just been like a year. Like it's just gone by so quickly.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's how we met.
Hmm?
That's how we met.
Yeah. Yeah, I just can't figure out when I started my blog though. I know it was also in 2012, but I can't figure out like which I started first or if they were started at the same time.
I feel like you started it after, but I might not have really
Yeah.
known the whole. I don't know. Go back and look at your first blog post.
It was in November, but I think I did start Hot Naked before the blog.
Yeah. I remember that I really liked that body lotion though. It
Yeah.
was good stuff.
Yeah. I don't have the recipe anymore.
Oh my
I mean, if I really wanted to, I could probably try to dig it up and like, but it was like, oh, it was the crazy thing. I would like do this in the garage and it was like winter time. It was so cold and things had to be warm for it to
Yeah.
mix well. And it was just like this mess. But I mean, yeah, I think the lotion was really good. And
The
then
lotion was good.
the bath bombs were a little experimental.
You live and learn.
Yes. So on your blog, Simply Stine,
Hmm.
has grown and evolved over the years. How do you keep coming up with ideas to keep your blog fresh?
I think that, like I said, I started it such a long time ago that it's really evolved and I've probably evolved as an adult, hopefully.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And I think it's just kind of gone along with me, how I've changed, but also in things that I find interesting. I think that right now it's really difficult as someone who is a blogger or in social media or anything because there's just so much of the same thing
Yes.
over and over and over again. And I think that that is one thing that you really have to work on really hard is to kind of find your voice. You have
Mm-hmm.
to really do it with a passion
Mm-hmm.
and you have to talk about the things that you find interesting because if you're just going along with what's popular, what everyone else is doing, you're going to get burnt out so quickly. So
Yes.
for me, it's just kind of like, I think as I've learned, and this might be something that we talk about later on, is I just talk about what I want to. I don't necessarily worry about what's popular right now. I just share what I find interesting, useful, helpful, and I find that produces the best content for me.
I agree. I agree. Like there's so many blogs out there that seem so, I guess, like Stepford wife.
Oh my
They're
gosh,
just cookie cutters.
completely.
Yeah.
They're like blonde, thin, cookie cutter women who are wearing Lululemon every day, going to
Yeah.
Starbucks, posing in their car, like, like the Instagram pose with like your
Right.
legs like in your lap with your coffee. And I
The,
think that you really, there's a fine line of, following trends, but
hmm
then you're just kind of doing it to be like everybody else because you think that's what's going to get you, followers and likes and, views. It's
hmm
really not, though. It's really not because you're just doing the same thing as everybody else.
Exactly. Exactly. Like the more original content you have, the more people will be interested in what you have to say and produce versus the same thing over and over again.
Yeah,
I
because
feel
I
you.
think that the people, yeah, because people I think are looking, they want to know who you are.
hmm
There might be things that I do enjoy. I mean, I do go to Starbucks and different things, but that's not the only thing. I'm not posting the same thing every single day. It
Right.
really, like, my content is all over the place. You never know what you're going to get with me. But I
hmm
think that the longer that I've been doing this, that's what I find really gives me authentic readers who stick around.
It makes perfect sense. Like I completely agree with you because
Yeah.
like I'll look at a lot of the bloggers even in Portland or like Instagrammers in Portland, compare them to other Instagrams and bloggers
Yeah.
elsewhere, and it's the same. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to see this crap.
Yeah. I
It's
follow
not.
a lot of people, and I mean,
hmm
I will be honest, I've really kind of stepped back, and I
hmm
don't read as many blogs as I used to, and I don't even watch a lot of YouTube that I used to because I don't want their content to be in my mind, if that
Right.
makes sense. Like, I don't want it to be like, oh, that's a really good idea. It's not that
Absolutely.
I don't want to follow them, and I do, like, I will read certain people that I'm really passionate about following, that I support. But otherwise, I've really taken a step back because I think that the more you kind of get into all of that and you follow all these people, I just kind of felt like it led to comparison issues
hmm
and different things that, which is not good at all. And it can happen very quickly. I just wanted to be more authentic to myself. And I didn't want to feel like I had to be like these other Stepford wife cookie cutters out there.
hmm
So
I
that's kind of what
agree.
I learned. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And I noticed your Instagram post and everything, and I know like the subject vary from like food to fashion to makeup,
It's all
everything. It's
over the
great.
place. It
It's
is.
great. Yeah, and that's why I love following you. Other because we met like 7 years ago, but
Yeah.
still.
And I think that there are beautiful Instagram posts out there, like people who are very, they have a certain aesthetic that they follow, and it's
hmm
very scheduled, and it's very like high end. They put a lot of thought into their post and everything. It tells a story. There's a
Yeah,
lot of work that goes into that.
yeah.
And it's not something, I mean, of course, I want my feed to look good, and I don't want the pictures to be, crap. But I also, like in doing reader surveys and different things, I found that most people prefer just kind of spur of the moment photos. They get
hmm
tired of seeing these women who have these perfectly laid out flat lays, or they're, shooting these high profile photo shoots and they're just not real life.
hmm
And while they're beautiful to look at,
hmm
what I found that people would tell me when they would do surveys or I would talk to people is they just didn't feel like they could relate to that.
Right,
So I think
right,
that's kind of like where sometimes I would take a step back and I will post like, a random, I don't know, it could be a book or something. I mean, you just
right.
never know. But I felt like I needed to make it more relatable.
Right. Like pictures of you and your husband. That's
Yeah,
relatable. Yeah.
yeah, it is. And I think that that's important, but I get it. A lot of people don't want to show their whole life. They want to keep some things private. And I
hmm
think that that's important, but I think that showing like the real life, hey, I have bad hair days, I'm not wearing makeup today, this is me. I think that
Hmm.
that's important.
I think so too. I
Yeah.
usually save that for like Instagram stories.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
don't really know if I want like this picture out there forever, so I'll just put in the story,
Apparently, I just don't care. I'm just like,
which is
whatever.
great.
This is me.
That's
Like, take it or leave it.
other than your blog, you're pretty active on all of your social media and on YouTube. Do
Yeah.
you organize your time to work on social media networking, or do you throw something on different types of media when you want to share something or when you feel like it?
I think a trick to being sane as someone who is so involved in social media is you have to find a good schedule so you
Hmm.
don't get burnout. Because I
Hmm.
think burnout is a real thing,
Yeah.
and you can start to feel like you're just producing content just to produce content, and it's
Hmm.
crap sometimes.
Yeah.
So I have found that making a schedule, I keep an editorial calendar, and I will use programs like Hootsuite, I think that's how you pronounce it, where
Hmm.
I can go in and I can schedule all of my content.
Hmm.
Sometimes I'll do that. If I'm having a really good month where I'm really on top of my game,
Yeah.
you can do Instagram posts, you can do Pinterest pins, different things. I will utilize things like that. On Facebook, I will go ahead and pre-schedule posts
Hmm.
to kind of keep things going. I've found that for me, in order to be healthy and not end up being burnt out, is I cannot spend so much time on all this that I used to. And I have
Yeah.
to be smarter about it and I have to work ahead of the game to keep things going, but also to give myself a break. So I do have an editorial calendar. I do go ahead for the most part and I will pre-schedule post. I will go ahead and have Pinterest pins constantly being pinned throughout the day. That
Hmm.
has helped me a lot to kind of stay on top of the game. But I still am kind of sometimes in the moment. Like I'll do Instagram stories of what I'm doing in that moment. Or, sometimes if I'm just posting a blog post that I didn't think I was going to, I
Uh-huh.
will do it in that moment.
Like some of the things that you post obviously are in the moment. Like if
Yeah.
you're cooking something or like going to the movies,
Yes. Yes.
like last night.
Oh my gosh. Movies on margaritas. Yeah. I think that, I want to share my life and what I'm doing, but I also want to still have a life. I don't
Yes.
want to be on my phone constantly. And that's something that I've had to learn because, like for Rob, for a while, he would say, "You're always on your phone." But I'm like, this is my job. This is what I do. And I kind of
Right.
had to sit there and take that into consideration. Like,
Yeah.
can I be better at what I'm doing and pre-plan so I am able to still be in the moment without my phone?
I agree with you. Like
Yeah.
there's times where I'm like, I was just on my phone so much. And then the new update for our iPhones
Yeah.
would tell us how much you
Mhm.
spent a week
Yeah.
on your phone. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I need to
Yeah.
lower this.
It's crazy. I did get
It
my
is.
update. It said my screen time was down 13%. And I'm
That's
like, hell
great.
yes. Like, that's
Yeah.
great because I think you can really get sucked into things like Instagram and that, and you can
Yeah.
spend so much time on there without even
Hmm.
really knowing it.
I totally agree. That and Facebook as well. But
Yeah.
now I've been off Facebook for unless I have something really interesting
Yeah.
to post, I just stay off of it because it's kind of toxic in there
If
lately.
there is one social media that I could get rid of, it would
Hmm.
be Facebook in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy it. I try to not spend as much time on there. I mean, I do run my Facebook group and I
Right.
have obviously my Facebook page for my blog,
Right.
but a lot of that is done ahead of time, so I don't have to be on there.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to control how much time you are on Facebook and
Yeah.
other social media. And then also, let's talk a little bit about your YouTube channel. What is your creative process when you're planning a video?
Well, for one, I need to be a lot better about it. It's something that a lot of people request that I do more videos, and I don't know why, but I find that the most difficult part of everything that I do.
It
It
is
is.
time consuming.
It is so time consuming. And I think that me being a perfectionist and someone who is so OCD about things, it makes it a lot harder on myself than it probably needs to be.
Yeah.
So my whole process is I will basically come up with, I just did this recently. These are the videos that I want to do for this month, or these are my ideas. I always keep in my phone or my laptops or whatever, in my notes section, ideas that will like pop into my head. And that way I always have, something to reference. If, like I was thinking about this, what was it that I wanted to look up? Or I had this blog idea. That way it's always there. So I will sit down, I will come out with the videos that I want to do, or if I have like any sponsored content that I know needs to be filmed or any products that I want to talk about, and I will basically just schedule a day and I will try to do 2 or 3 videos a day. And
Yeah.
then it's basically me making sure that my background is clean because I film in my office. I need to like dedicate like a certain area so it's always just ready, but I will film, and then most of the time I think the longest part of it is editing.
Yeah, I
The editing
agree.
takes a long time.
I mean, for the most part, I feel like you're really consistent with your videos and they look really good
Well,
and they're really fun to watch, especially like the personal ones.
yeah.
Sometimes you go on there and,
Yeah.
talk to people as if you're having a conversation with us.
Yeah.
And I really like that.
I think, I used to watch a lot of YouTube videos, a
Hmm.
lot of videos, and I loved it when they were kind of more not so put together and they were just people sitting on their floors looking into their computers, like,
Right?
and just talking and having a conversation. I feel like the YouTube has kind of lost that.
Yeah, I feel
Well,
like that they've lost
yeah.
that too. It's just everything's so overproduced.
It is. And I think that that scares a lot of people off who actually want to do something like this as a living. They feel
Yeah.
like that is what they have to compete with. And you have to understand, like, those people have so many people working for them. They have, like, a production team, an editing team that take care of all this stuff for them. And
It's true.
I think that's the one thing that I miss about YouTube is just everything being authentic, like spur of the moment, dark, kind of crappy video quality.
Right.
But that's how it used to be.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are more interested in that nowadays. And I think
Yeah.
that's why people turn to like the Instagram stories or even
Yeah.
Snapchat because people are seeing authentic stories. Well, hopefully. I don't
Yeah.
know, I'm not sure
Yeah,
how
exactly.
well you can stage those, and I'm sure they do stage some of them, but they're less clean.
Don't
Yeah.
you think that people are kind of like, whether we want to admit it or not, we're really into seeing people's like daily lives? Like,
Yeah.
even them in the grocery store, like somehow we just find it oddly fascinating. We
We're
want to see
voyeurs.
like, yeah, like
We
we're total
are. We're
creeps. We're
voyeurs.
creeps. We want to see like what this person's day is like. What are they doing? I'll send you like videos randomly. This is so embarrassing. I can't believe I'm admitting this, but I'm like, did this person like even pass gas or go to the bathroom? Because they just seem so perfect that it's
Right.
almost like it's unrelatable to me. I want to see people's flaws and, all of that.
Yeah, and you've already seen my toilet
I
flaws
have,
pictures.
yeah. But I think that's what keeps things interesting. And for me, I appreciate the people who have very elaborate content, like Ami Song or,
Yeah.
Julia of Gal Meets Glam, like even like Casey Neistat and things like that. But there also comes to a point where I'm like, okay, this is not relatable to me at all. I
Right.
need someone like real. And I think
Right.
that's where the fascination with like Instagram stories, like you said, has come about.
Yeah, I agree. Wonder what it's going to be like in like 5 to 10 years from now when it comes to YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. Are these going to exist? Are we going to keep doing this? Or it's
I
going to
don't
be so overly produced?
I think it's going to be overly produced, but I think also, I mean, I've read a lot of things about a lot of people leaving YouTube.
Hmm.
I've heard a lot of things about Instagram will be the next YouTube. If you think about like, the younger generation and how much they're on their phone, like I think of like my niece and everything, and she's constantly watching YouTube, constantly, and it's
Yeah.
sometimes the absolute dumbest things that I don't
Yeah,
understand.
I
But I think that,
agree.
the younger generation is so into it that I don't know where it's going to go. I really don't.
I don't either. I watch my son watch these shows on, I guess, YouTube, and
Yeah.
it's about nothing.
Yeah. It'll be
It's,
like about reviewing toy. I mean, the
yeah.
one kid, I can't think of his name. He's worth like $5 million,
Yeah,
and
that,
he's
and
so
he's got
young.
his Walmart toys and
Yeah.
yeah, that kid. He all he
Yeah.
does is review toys and play with his parents, and
Yeah.
I mean that's great for them.
What a life.
But I don't understand as a parent. I
Yeah.
don't understand this.
But like the kids, I mean, they absolutely love it. And I mean, even going to older kids that are in high school and college and stuff, that's the one thing I hear out of them is, oh, I learned this on YouTube
Hmm.
constantly. Like,
Yeah.
that's how they learn things.
That's true. Visual learning is a little bit better than,
Yeah.
reading something. So I
Yeah.
get that because sometimes I'm like, how do I fix my car? And I'll
Right.
go on YouTube and look. Yeah, I think YouTube does have a place. It's just maybe it'll become a little bit more educational.
No, there's a lot of, I think, downfalls to YouTube. It's like, it can be a really negative, disgusting place. I mean,
Yes, so can a
yeah,
lot of
totally.
other places. So
Social media can be very toxic.
yes, very, very
Hmm.
toxic. And I
Yeah.
think that's the wonderful thing about Instagram is that the people I follow aren't toxic.
Yeah.
So it's like I get to control who I follow.
And that's
And
important.
that is important versus like Facebook, they're your family and friends.
Yeah.
And they have opinions. And so it's
Yeah.
like, I'm going to take a step back.
I think I've had to like hide half of my family so I don't see them on my timeline.
Right? Yeah,
Just
I
because I don't want to
know.
see it. I'm not going to unfollow them or like unfriend them, but
Right.
I don't want to see it every day.
I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to photography and YouTube, because we've been talking about, Instagram so much, and also you do have to take pictures for your blog and stuff.
Yes.
What type of equipment do you use?
I have two cameras that I primarily use beside like other than my iPhone. And I
Mm-hmm.
will be honest, I do not use my iPhone for a lot of Instagram pictures.
Okay.
I typically will use for vlogging, I use a Canon G7X,
Okay.
and I really like that camera because it's a compact, lightweight camera and it has a screen that flips up. So if you're vlogging, you can see
Oh,
yourself.
that's nice.
Also, I think it takes really, really good pictures. Before, I would always use my Canon Rebel. I think I have like a T5i or something like that. But I've also purchased other lenses for it. So the one thing I think as a blogger that I never realized was how much I had to know about photography and
Right?
photography
Yeah.
equipment. Like, it is crazy. But like when I started, and you go back and look at my pictures, I mean, they've changed
They,
drastically, thank
they've
gosh.
evolved. I agree. They've evolved.
So much.
Like
Yeah.
it's
My blog post featured Bath and Body Works products, if that tells you anything. And it was
Hey.
taken like on my desk.
Uh-huh.
I think probably with like a really old iPhone at the time. I mean, that was 2012.
Yeah.
So the lighting wasn't great, but it has been something for me that I have invested money in my brand and company by being able to purchase these cameras and lenses and things. As far as editing, I will typically use Lightroom to edit my photos.
Mm.
Sometimes I will use Photoshop. For YouTube, I'm still old fashioned and I cannot get away from using iMovie. I just don't feel the need to go any more than that with
Hmm.
Final Cut because I feel like there's so much to it.
Right.
I
You don't feel
have
like
to.
you need to put explosives in the background,
No, I just
exploding
don't.
cars.
I don't want to overcomplicate things.
Right.
So
Right.
I still use iMovie.
Hmm.
But if I'm doing things like on my camera, like on my
Hmm.
phone, one of the apps that I absolutely love for filters and different things is Color Story.
Okay.
A lot of people will go to like VSCO and Snapseed and all these different ones. I love Color Story. The filters on there are incredible. They also have one that goes along with it. I can't remember the name of it. I need to open it.
Go for it.
It's called a design kit. And that's how I made like some of my Instagram story covers. You can just have a lot of fun with them. And I feel like they
Yeah.
have great options.
Some of the ones that I use, I mean, I use like Adobe products on my phone.
Yeah, I do
Like
too.
it's so easy, right?
Yeah,
And
it's
then
so
I'll
easy.
use Filter Loop and Word Swag. My
I haven't used
coworker
those.
introduced me to that one, and then Effects Studio, and of course Boomerang. So that's basically all the tools you use, other than we've covered like Hootsuite and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So your blog previously was mainly about beauty products. What made you
Yeah.
decide to change things up?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that when I first started, I mean, even now to this day, I
Mhm.
love everything beauty to a point that it's crazy.
Mhm.
But it's just something that I love. I'm very passionate about. It's been kind of what I've done for a really long time. So it's a lot of what I know. But for me, I didn't want to just be about beauty because there's
Mhm.
so much more to me that I
Right.
wanted to share. And I think that I had to get to a level where I was comfortable enough to share that part of me. It's kind of scary though, if you think about it, like being so open. You have all of this out there to thousands, and I mean, however many people are reading, and viewing your stuff. It's everyone seeing you, and it might not be your perfect moments and, the curated, edited moments. These are like you crying on a YouTube video, or you crying on Instagram, or sharing your struggles in your blog. That's not a really easy thing to do, but I
No.
felt
Mhm.
compelled to do it. I wanted to share like stuff that I was going through.
Definitely. And makes you more relatable and everything. And it takes a lot of courage to do that, to open up and share the world your story too,
Yeah.
because then it opens up to, some people who are just nasty
Jerks.
to begin with. And so it's just like,
Yes.
it takes a lot of courage to do that. And also, I think it's helpful when you reach out because you realize you have all these other
Yeah.
people who are in the same boat as you, and then you can create a support system.
While I love sharing the latest makeup products and skincare gadgets and everything, I
Mm-hmm.
think it's really touching to me when I share, I've been very open about like infertility struggles and different
Yeah.
things. The messages that I get from women are amazing and also heartbreaking. The fact that they appreciate that someone can be so open for them because they aren't, or people in their family have no idea that they're going through this. Recently, I was very open about it on Instagram. I don't know. I just started talking one day, and I
Mm-hmm.
think I probably got 40 or 50 messages, I'm probably more than that, just of women saying thank you, because it's a way for them to understand what someone else is going through. Because
Mm-hmm.
while they might not be going through the same situation, it's eye opening. And then other women, who are going through the situation, I got messages from women. I have no one else to talk to about this. My
Mm-hmm.
husband is leaving me because I can't have children and I don't know what to do. Just it's really
It's
difficult.
heartbreaking.
Yeah, it goes really deep. So I think when you are ready to be open about issues, I've talked about infertility, I've talked about my issues with anxiety, I've talked
Mm-hmm.
about, self confidence issues. All of this stuff, you really have to be open, because the messages, for me at least, it's a lot. There were some horrible messages in there, just not like directed towards me, but just seeing what all these women are going through. It's a lot. But I think for me, I keep doing it because of the feedback I get, because women, this helps me so much. You have no idea how much this helps me. And I think that was
Mm-hmm.
always the reason why I wanted to blog. If I could help one person, that's great. That's
Mm-hmm.
all I want to do. So I think at the end of the day, that's what I want to do. I just want to help women feel better about themselves. The more relatable I can be, the better.
I agree 100%. And it's such a stigma too. Like society tells women, these are the steps you need to follow in life.
Yeah.
And
Oh
it's
my
so
gosh,
unfair.
100%. Yeah.
And it pushed so much pressure on women.
Oh yeah. It's hard.
Prior to starting your blog and your YouTube channel,
Hmm.
you had a different career.
I
You
did.
were actually in the beauty
I
industry.
was.
Sorry.
I started from the very, sorry. I
Okay.
started from the very bottom. So I started working at a hair salon. It was horrible. My boss was crazy. I mean, literally crazy. And I
Mm-hmm.
just did it I just wanted something different in my life. I just wanted a break. I wanted something that I was in that place where I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I was out of college. I think just kind of struggling. So I
Mm-hmm.
started this job, and I did not love the hair industry.
Okay.
Working for hairstylists was crazy. It was very
Mm-hmm.
high pressure. It was probably one of the hardest jobs I've ever had. So I got an offer to go and work for a spa,
Uh-huh.
and it kind of just went from there. That is what started my love of beauty. I wasn't some person where when I grew up, I loved makeup and everything because I really could care less. My mom
Mhm.
didn't teach me anything about it, but I started working in a spa and I started again just front of the house, like receptionist work. And I worked all the way up to head manager. I worked on protocols for the spa. I took all kinds of courses on skincare and beauty and different things. And that's kind of what I did until the recession hit.
Mm.
And the
Okay.
recession hit, and obviously people lost money.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
going to the spa was not something that was just something they had to do at that point in their life.
Right.
So the spa that I ended up working at, the owners decided that they wanted to close it.
Oh.
Yeah. And it was a really difficult time for me. I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. I had actually thought about possibly going into aesthetic school to be an
Uh-huh.
esthetician or something like that. But I randomly started my blog and
Okay.
it all kind of took off from there. I had a background in beauty. I did it for almost 10 years.
Okay. Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah,
And then
long time.
just like suddenly, yeah, the recession hit in
It hit hard.
2008, and we're all displaced.
Because a lot of the spas, I mean, like even around me, I live, on the suburbs of Atlanta. There's a lot of money in the area, and it still really hit hard.
Yeah.
People just weren't coming in like they were before. So it was kind of just a moment for me, like, okay, what do I do now? And I just started my blog as a hobby, and it just kind
Yeah.
of took off
Hmm.
from there. And here we are.
And here we are. Yep. We all started our blog from hobby, and then
Yeah.
here we are.
Yep.
Although mine is still like a hobby. What startup advice would you have for people who want to create a blog in this day and age?
I wrote down some notes when you gave me my questions so I could review, and I
Okay.
wrote down three things. And I wrote down do research,
Hmm.
don't rush it, and just start.
Yeah, and you've given a lot of mentioned a lot of great tools that people can use
Hmm.
too.
Yeah,
And then for a blog, what do you use as a platform?
I
Like
use
WordPress?
WordPress.
WordPress.
I
Okay,
do
and
use
then
WordPress. I do use WordPress. I started
mhm,
off on Blogger, I think,
mhm.
and then I made the jump to WordPress.
And then it makes it so much easier,
So
right?
much easier. Yes, so much
And
easier.
and then for hosting, do you use directly at WordPress.com, or are you using a host to use WordPress?
I have a host, so like I own my site. I'm
Mhm.
probably not explaining this correct at all. I have a husband who takes care of all this stuff for me.
You've got an
Um,
IT person there.
yeah, Rob is a computer programmer, software development,
Mhm.
so he handles a lot of that for me.
Mhm.
But I do have a hosting service. I don't just host with WordPress. Does that make sense? Am I explaining that
Yes.
right?
Yes. So
Okay.
yes, need a host. If you want your own
Yes.
domain name, you can always have
Yes.
it pointed to.
Yes.
But if you really want full control of it, then get a host, put all your stuff on there, and then there's like very like apps and stuff like that,
Yes. Mhm.
plugins.
Plugins, yes.
Yeah, to help
And I think
facilitate the
that's,
rest of stuff.
yeah,
Mhm.
I think that's really important to have control over your own property. I
Yes.
mean, I get it like from a money standpoint sometimes. I mean, I started out on Blogger, but at the end
Mhm.
of the day, if Blogger shuts down, I have
Right.
none of my work. It's gone.
Yeah, and that's a very important point
Hmm.
to make. Once social media goes away, what do you have? You have
Yeah.
nothing. You need a website with
Yes.
your own content on there or your information. Say, for instance, you're in a certain industry and someone needs to find you. How are they going
Yeah.
to find you?
Yeah.
We can't count on LinkedIn.
Yeah. I think a
Yeah.
lot of people put all of their eggs in one basket, and I'm talking
Yep.
about Instagram primarily. But at
Hmm.
the end of the day, you still have a blog to run.
Yep.
If you're only doing Instagram, fine, that's great. But I'm always stressing this to women who are bloggers. Your blog should come first before anything else. That's your baby. That's what you work so hard with. Don't only worry about Instagram. That seems to be a very common trend. You still
Hmm.
need to keep, your blog running smoothly and updated, and that's where you should be spending a lot of your time because that's what you're in control over. Again, what if Instagram shuts down tomorrow?
And what do you have? You have nothing.
Exactly. So I think a lot of people kind of forget that. They get, wrapped up in the Instagram wanting to get likes and followers and things like that. But at the end of the day, if your main thing is blogging and you have a blog,
Mhm.
that's what you need to concentrate on.
And even your YouTube videos can
Yeah.
disappear. YouTube may still be there, but like for me,
Yeah.
because I was so inactive on there that they just deleted my videos. It's gone.
Really? Oh
Yes,
my
they're
gosh.
gone. I'm not even on YouTube anymore.
Wow.
So, I
Yeah,
mean,
but
I
that's
have
important to
that
bring
is
up.
important.
Hmm.
So, it's really important to save your videos too. And I have my
Yes.
videos,
Yeah.
but I don't have the YouTube channel anymore.
Yeah.
So, fun fact for everyone to know, just in case,
Are
don't
you going
be
to come up with a
inactive
new
on
one?
YouTube for years.
Are you going to do it again?
I don't know. I'm just like right now, I'm just going to concentrate, doing my own thing,
Hmm.
blogging when I can,
Yeah.
and I want to continue with podcasts when
Yeah.
I can. And
Hmm.
I'm trying to do this like bi-weekly, do enough interviews, collect enough recordings,
Yeah.
and then posting them up there.
You're in charge of everything. So
Yep.
that's what I always stress to women. You're in charge of your schedule.
Yeah. And I have other things I have to do.
Yeah, you're a mom. Hello.
Yeah, and a full-time job
Yeah.
elsewhere. Let me ask you this question. What is your current favorite beauty product?
This is such a hard question for me.
It is. I know. That's why I put it up
I
there.
really, really struggled with this.
Hmm.
I'm going to say right now, oh gosh, I have three written down because I didn't know which one I was going to go with.
Okay.
Right now, I am very into learning more, and I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. The guasa. Do you know what I'm talking about? It is like a jade or a rose quartz kind of facial
Yeah.
massaging tool.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how it's
I
pronounced,
think it's
but I know what you're talking
guasa.
about.
I'm pretty
Okay.
sure. But the jade rollers and rose quartz rollers were really popular. They still are. But I am very, very interested in learning about this tool. It's kind of become the latest beauty obsession, and it
Hmm.
helps to work with circulation and lymphatic drainage. And I've just seen videos that are absolutely amazing to me, the before and afters,
Hmm.
that it's something I really want to learn more. And I'm actually thinking about taking like a workshop or a class on it.
And
Uh,
then teach us how to use it.
yeah, it's like an ancient, I believe it's Chinese.
Hmm.
The techniques have been passed down for such a long time. And I just kind of find that fascinating. So when I was at Sephora over the weekend, Herbivore has one. I think it's like $19. You
Okay.
don't need to spend a lot of money on these things. That's one
Yeah.
question I get asked a lot. You don't need to spend a lot of money on these things. It's literally about the technique that you're using that will make the biggest difference.
Hmm.
But I'm kind of very into learning old techniques and
Hmm.
how they still apply to today. Because if you look at like Chinese women and Korean women and different things, their skin is flawless.
Oh, well, thank you.
With flawless skin, my dear. But I find like those really old techniques that are still being used fascinating, especially like in the world of Botox and
Right.
everything else. So that tool has been like on my list that I
Hmm.
really want to learn more about.
That is interesting. I've seen them around. I just like haven't committed to them
Yeah,
or to one.
a lot of people ask questions because there's also the rollers as well.
Yeah.
Kind of do the same thing, but I feel like the guasa, I'm probably totally butchering that.
I don't
Um,
even know.
I feel like it has the ability to do a little bit more just because it has like curves and little nooks and crannies on the actual device itself that could do like a really good facial massage. So that is one product that is inexpensive that
Hmm.
I'm very, very into.
It's the end of the world as we know it. Think
Yeah.
Bird Box or zombies, whatever.
I have not watched Bird Box yet.
Okay. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that movie.
Everyone does. I'm like the
Yeah.
last person who's seen it.
It's
But
like,
yeah.
okay. What is one product that you cannot live without, that you absolutely need for survival?
Oh gosh. These questions are like the hardest questions because I feel like I have so many products that are like
I know.
I would be that crazy person like I would have certain aisles I would know I would have to go towards. But I thought about it and I think the one that I came up with is probably the Drunk Elephant Marula oil.
Okay. Is that
because it's a facial oil.
oil? Okay.
It's a facial oil and it's high in antioxidants. It
Uh-huh.
moisturizes the skin. It soothes the skin. It helps with any inflammation or anything. So if I'm stranded and I need like a one and all type product, I
Uh-huh.
can put this all over my body. I can put this on my lips. I can put this everywhere to kind of help if I'm in the sun, help calm the skin. It's just that one
Mhm.
product that I would probably reach for because it does so much.
I need to
Yeah.
look. I need to do that. Find a product that does everything and all in
Yeah.
one for me. That sounds like a great product.
It's a great, great product.
Who is your fashion icon inspiration? It can be a celebrity, it could be another influencer, it can be anyone.
I wrote down three names
Okay.
and I kind of went old school again with this. Just these are what I think of when I hear that question. Jackie Kennedy Onassis. She was
Yep, of
chic.
course.
She was elegant. She loved sunnies, like
Yeah.
the oversized Grace Kelly. She was just
Oh,
like pure elegance. And then also Audrey Hepburn.
of
She
course.
was chic. She was like ladylike. And then I think nowadays someone like Michelle Obama.
Oh, yeah.
She's
She had
gorgeous.
quite an amazing wardrobe.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
reading her book right now and I just find her fascinating. But I think like fashion for me is really about being like chic and simple but still elegant.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that's just kind of become my signature, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also a fan of being comfortable.
Yeah,
But
aren't we all?
that doesn't mean I want to wear leggings every single day of my life.
Right.
But I like kind of simple. So Julia from Gal Meets Glam, I think
Mm-hmm.
she's a perfect example of someone who is just very ladylike, chic, and elegant. I don't know
Okay.
if you follow her.
I'll have to look her up after this.
She recently launched her own collection and it's sold in Nordstrom.
Oh,
And her
okay.
dresses are phenomenal.
Maybe I have seen her. They've
Yeah.
been doing that a lot. Like
Yes.
Nordstrom have been
hmm
reaching out to influencers and making a collection for them.
I feel like that's a whole nother like podcast for another day.
Right? It's a whole
Yeah.
nother
It's a
level.
whole nother ball game.
Right. Last question.
Uh-huh.
Should you do it for passion or money?
Gosh, you gotta do passion because if you're
Yeah.
doing it strictly for money, you literally are going to be burnt out before the end of the month. I think the one thing that bloggers don't understand, and I'll say this about YouTubers as well, probably, there is so much work that goes into this business
Mm-hmm.
that you don't get paid for. And I think
Right.
that, especially starting out, you can't
Mm-hmm.
feel like you're entitled to money until you actually kind of make a name for yourself and prove to people why. And I think I was kind of dumb about that in the beginning. I just kind of expected, brands to want to work with me like automatically. And I
Mm-hmm.
was that's stupid. It was great that I was so ballsy and I was so confident in myself. But now that I've really kind of evolved and treated this as a business rather than a hobby,
Mm-hmm.
it's totally different. So for
Yeah.
me, you have to do it for passion because if I'm only doing it for money, I would be done in less than a month.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, and people would realize, like, if they are doing it for money, they will realize that they'll get burnt out so quick because they have
Yeah.
to come up with these
Yeah.
generic content, and that gets boring fast. Like, why would you want to write the
Yeah.
same thing over and over again,
And
right?
I think that there are a lot of people who are bloggers, Instagrammers, YouTubers, and you can tell the ones who only do it for money.
Yeah.
I get it, you have to run a brand, so sponsored content and ads and stuff are going to be very important. But I think
Hmm.
there has to be a good mixture of you not only pumping out sponsored content every single day. Like there has to
Yeah.
be kind of a mix. But you can tell at least I can, this is kind of my view. If I see someone every single day talking about a product that was sent to them that they're paid for, I'm
Hmm.
going to kind of question
Their motive.
yeah,
Yeah.
because you're doing this every single time for money. This isn't coming just something you yourself have bought or, how authentic is your opinion?
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to the age old how to sell someone. People want a story, but they
Yeah.
want a real story.
Yeah. And I think
So,
that's a question a lot of marketing people, I've talked to them about this. They want to work with influencers. And I think that whole thing of influencers being a big deal, they
mhm.
finally understand that now. Like when I started, even just 6 years ago, it is a totally different ballgame now working with
Yep.
PR. It's
Yep.
totally different. But I think that they've also realized the importance of influencers. And that's why we are seeing more brands like Nordstrom and such reach out and work with these people. But it can also bite them in the end. I can think
Yeah.
of certain beauty brands, specifically, I won't name names. They lost a lot of people that were interested in their products and such because they were sending these YouTubers and such on these elaborate vacations.
Oh
And they
my
were just
gosh.
pumping out, product releases with them over and over again. Well, the problem then is their market, people couldn't relate to them anymore. The
Yeah.
products, not everyone wants to look like Patrick Starr or Jaclyn Hill and things like that.
Mhm.
They were coming out with these product launches, but they were just so far out there that I think that is one way an influencer, it can kind of mess with a brand. You still have
Yeah.
to be relatable to your consumers.
I don't know which company this is. Were they like just extravagant product?
So they would basically end up in Bali or Tahiti. They would send these influencers on these crazy extravagant vacations.
Okay.
And I know that they refuse to start working with a lot of smaller influencers.
Mhm.
And that, when you mess with the beauty community, it might be large, but it's also small at the same time, where it
Right.
kind of, they screw themselves. They started creating products, I think, that just weren't relatable to the everyday consumers. And they were more so about attracting people who were obsessed with these influencers.
Yeah, because the smaller influencers are equally as important because a
Yep.
lot of people don't want to follow the popular, well-known ones
Yeah.
because they feel like, let's face it, it feels like they've sold out.
Yeah, I was recently at an event, just really quickly, and this is a huge, one of the top selling beauty brands. They basically said, we're kind of tired working with large influencers. We want to start recognizing and working with more micro influencers because we feel that is where that's where the trend is going.
Because people
So,
get tired of looking
yeah.
at the top influencers and showing off their products.
Yeah, I mean, I posted that the other day on
Yeah, I
Instagram where,
know.
all of the YouTubers and Instagram stars posting, these elaborate shopping trips or their cars, and it's
Right.
just constantly. And the feedback that I got on that was people were so tired of seeing it. They
It's
just can't,
true.
it all goes back, they can't relate to that person.
No, because not everyone makes that much money. Not everyone can
Yeah.
afford that much. And at that point, you're just
It kind of
bragging.
makes you feel like crap. Like you like
Yeah.
this person and you like what they're putting out there, but if you can't relate to them and shop at the places they shop at, I mean, everyone's going to splurge every now and then.
Yeah, of
Let's be
course.
honest.
Yeah.
But you still want to be able to kind of relate to them, like, hey, I can have that in my closet, or I can use that product, or,
Right.
I can go to that place to get coffee. You still want to be able to relate to them in some way. And if they're just putting out their content that's just so far beyond your, it's going to make you feel like a piece of crap.
I agree. I really appreciate the influencers who can do both. They're like,
Yes,
look, you can buy this
completely.
extravagant Gucci bag. You can
Yeah.
pair it with these $10 shoes.
Yeah.
And
And
still look great.
there is nothing wrong with having expensive taste. I mean,
No.
let's be honest. I will probably, we both know this.
Right.
I like expensive things, but
Yeah.
I also still go and buy clothes at Target.
Yeah.
I'm
Me
not
too.
going to be beneath that. And I think that you have to, for me, I have stopped following a lot of influencers who now their closets resemble like a Louis Vuitton store.
Yeah.
I just can't
That's a little too
relate to
much.
every single thing being so extravagant.
Yeah. I agree 100% with
Yeah.
you. Thank you, Christine, for coming on my podcast. My
Thank
first
you for
guest.
having me.
It's been fun.
It has been fun.
We're going to have to do it again.
Yeah, I definitely think we always have something to talk about.
Right? We do.
Definitely.
No, but like really thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
I've always like admired you, always want to support you in every way I can just because of how we connected.
Yeah.
And so it's been a really great friendship. And I
Yeah.
really appreciate our friendship a lot. It means a lot
Thank
to
you.
me.
Aw.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always important to have women supporting you. That is definitely, you have to have that in life.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Even if we haven't met in
Yeah, I
person.
know, which is crazy. 6 years.
Thank you so much for listening to my first podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode and gained some helpful insight into the blogging world, whether you're a seasoned blogger or just a reader. I'd also like to thank my wonderful and supportive friend Christine for coming on my podcast and helping me with this project. If you'd like to go over what we covered today on my podcast, please visit joliepagel.com/podcast. Tell me your takeaway from this show or what you would like to hear in the future. You can message me at byjoliepagel on Instagram or email me at vivian@joliepagel.com. All of this info will be in the show notes. Please do share this podcast with your friends, fellow bloggers, and future bloggers because life is about sharing. Until next time.